There is nothing more annoying than getting spammed by a thrower, so that's why I decided to master all of them. Starting off with Dynamike. This push starts at 9,488 mastery points and 929 trophies. My goal for this grind was to get somewhat good at Dynamike because he's actually one of my worst brawlers, as you can probably tell from this. After 20 seconds of hitting air, I finally hit a stun, but it still wasn't enough to get a kill. Luckily, the super is much easier to hit, and shortly after we got a goal. After that I charged up my first hypercharge and I surprisingly didn't waste it. Also, I got to know that killing tanks isn't that simple with Dynamike, but we still managed to win this game. However, in my very next game I had quite a hard matchup. Edgar was extremely annoying to play against, and even just hitting him was a struggle for me. But I also got to practice this long super throw, which was catching enemies off guard a lot of the times. Maybe apart from this one. Oh, and I also got a hyper, but yeah, that wasn't ideal. Treating myself, I even got it for a second time, so surely this time I hit it. Even the Dynamike sticks missed, but I still won this game, and I was slowly grinding to max rank. After this win I got a legendary drop and I got a very nice skin, so I got much more motivated to grind. I was starting to feel this brawler and I was getting quite good at this gold scoring tree, so wins were just not stopping. Without even realizing it, I got to max rank and at the same time gold 1 mastery, so I was trying to push as high as possible, but that's when I lost my first game. I realized that it might not be as easy as I thought, but what was happening from this point was intriguing, to say the least. First of all, I had this game. It definitely doesn't look like a real match, but at the start of it the Rico just started spinning, so I joined them, and then the whole lobby just decided to do the same. We did nothing for about 2 minutes, but then the Maisie decided to ruin the fun. She team wiped them and the Bust scored. This somehow started a good streak and I was able to get out of wins. Every game just got much easier and I got to 1091 trophies. I had some questionable teammates, but I was still trying to carry them. Playing against Mortis definitely wasn't ideal, and I now understand why Dynamike mains hate Mortis. There's pretty much nothing you can do. Even stunning him wasn't enough to stop him, and we lost the game. I was still close to 1100 trophies, but I had a very bad losing streak. The games were getting a lot harder and I even had to play against Trevor with 2 randoms. There was just no winning that game. Matchmaking also felt like giving me 1400 teams for no reason, so before tilting more I decided to stop playing for the day at 14,050 mastery points and 1055 trophies. Overall, I was quite happy with the progress I made, and I know that you can't master Dynamike without dynajump, so at the start of day 2 I decided to try it out. Every Dyna random uses it, so I wanted to know why it's so popular. I firstly hopped into training cave and I made a challenge for myself that I can't play a normal game before I perform a triple jump. I have never done it before, and to be honest I thought that it was easy, but as you can see I was kinda struggling. I definitely underestimated how hard it was, and with dodgy internet that day I was thinking that it wasn't possible. But after 30 minutes I finally did this. It's quite hard to explain how relieved I felt, and shortly after this I somehow did it again. So after that I played my first game of the day, which didn't go well. I was trying to force it to work, but I was like the Dyna random you always get, so I lost. After that game I got an invite to this team and I got to play with my viewer. It's kinda crazy to me how often this happens nowadays. Anyways, we played a few games together and I finally did something useful with the jump. So maybe it wasn't as useless as I thought at first. Unfortunately my mate was slightly useless, but I was getting decent with the star power. Maybe I wasn't triple jumping over everyone, but I was able to get some value from it. We were able to get some wins along the way, but that was only if I wasn't doing stuff like this. The star power doesn't make you a Thanos, I guess. After that I was back to randoms and my plays were similar to their level. I just couldn't get a single practical play with the star power and I was losing like every single game. I was wondering if I was just doing something wrong, but I wasn't getting the worst stats on the team. However, having a streak like this made me switch to solo showdown so I could practice without being annoying. I decided to try a no moving challenge to get better at choosing my jump direction, but once there was an enemy I was struggling a lot. This clip probably sums it up best. I gave up on not moving and I just started playing normally. Did it go any better? Not really, and after playing for about 3 hours and making pretty much no progress, I decided to start playing normally, so I swapped back to the demolition star power for a bit and I went back to Brawl. Shortly after that I had probably the best game of this push so far. I was hitting every single stun, I was getting some satisfying double kills not once but twice, and I had much more fun compared to the other star power. The one-shot potential with the super just fitted my playstyle more and I was finally making progress. Maybe the level of my opponents wasn't the greatest, but my teammates also weren't the brightest players on the planet. Also, this game was extremely weird because after the enemies got a double kill, my Frank decided to go for the ball and he just gave up. I have absolutely no idea why. However, after that I found myself a team and I decided to go back to the jump and I finally made a decent play. Maybe it was kinda scuffed, but I was quite happy I finally did something useful. Hot zone felt like a perfect mode to play and I got a lot of wins here. Because of that I even reached gold 2 mastery, and from here I went back to showdown. I was able to make a few nice plays here in some very hard situations and was getting very consistent wins. After a very long day of fails and torture, I made it to the mastery cap at 20,050 points. On day 3 I was still dissatisfied with my jump skills. I kept on playing showdown and in my first game I jumped straight into a Buzz Lightyear. I'm so glad he's gone now. After a few more games of just jumping in showdown, I thought it couldn't get any worse, but then I had to play with my younger brother. He really wanted to grind the Buzz mastery, so I was forced to help him, but it wasn't easy. Some games were just not winnable and it didn't make it any easier with plays like these. 2v2 Brawl didn't go that bad overall, but a few games later we switched to Hot Zone. In theory it's an extremely good Dynamike map, but Buzz was just useless here. At this point I pretty much gave up on doing anything flashy with the jumps and I was using the star power as more of a speed boost. After 2 quick losses we went back to showdown and that's when I realized that maybe dynajump is just not for everyone. People that use it don't really care about winning games and I always want to win and get some win streaks going with the most optimal build possible. Maybe I was trying too hard to make it viable when in reality it's more of a fun thing to just flex on someone. I get why people like using it, but as a mastery grinder it didn't convince me to use it. With that being said, I used it for the whole time we were playing duels and I just focused on using it as a movement mechanic, which was a bit fun for me, so maybe that's how I was meant to use it all along. From this whole duo push I got one insanely funny clip, but it was my brother just having a bit of trouble with dodging bow mines. This guy is not real. Anyways, after a few more wins I was finally 1 game away from mastery. Frank and Sushi guy, we should be good. Honestly, this was one of the most tiring pushes in a while, like playing with this guy was so painful. Oh, the prediction, you can't let me do that. Okay, I also got the Frank, he should score now. Okay, nice. Yeah, he's dead, nothing new. I don't think I can defend now. Ah, close, good try. Let's hyper now. No, what am I doing? Oh, I got the stun. Nice. No way he scores. Nah, that's great, it's finally done. And there it is, gold 3 Dynamike. Let's claim the title now, which means I am now touching your birdie. So now let's move on to the next brawler, which is Barley. This push starts at 11,216 mastery points and 881 trophies. I got quite unlucky with the maps that day because like look at this. I need to know who made this monstrosity. I ended up going for Brawl and at first it was going quite well. My mates were pretty good for these trophies and games were rather fast wins. I was playing Barley quite well while having a few nice saves and I have already seen how much space his super can cover. It's basically their whole goal and they can't do anything about it. And to be completely honest with you, there isn't much more you can do with this brawler. The attack is just a bottle and super is more bottles. So yeah, there isn't much tech to do. I guess it's not that weird since this brawler has been in the game for nearly 8 years and at least he's quite strong, or that's what I thought. After getting to about 950 trophies, I was stuck. No matter how well I was playing, I couldn't carry 2 randoms with just a thrower. If I had a buzz on my team, I was ready for the worst gameplay I could have ever imagined and 90% of the time it was true. Even worse, when they were feeding supers and getting a hypercharged crow drop on your head definitely wasn't fun. At times it was kinda funny because how can you be this useless? However, after an hour of this torture, I finally had a breakthrough and with a nice 6 win streak I got to rank 50. After that I won and I was 1 win away from rank 50, but this game had to be rigged. This Frank just refused to score and after missing the goal against Amortis, we deserved to lose. However, after that I got another chance and the enemies had an interesting comp. After a very clean super through the middle, we got a quick team wipe and we scored. Then we got scored on and shortly after they had a chance to win, but we somehow defended. After kickoff I died, but after respawning my Frank somehow scored. No idea how he did it from that. This was definitely one of the hardest max ranks I have pushed in a while, but it was worth it. From there I tried to push higher, but I was back to struggling a lot and internet at times wasn't helping at all. Towards the end I swapped the mode to highs just so the games were faster and I got a few wins. I didn't play for that long though and I stopped playing for the day at 15,656 mastery points. On day 5 I got unlucky with the maps yet again, but I decided to go with knockout and this didn't start off that well. A lot of people were playing either better throwers or just counters, which I had close to no chance against. For a lot of randoms it was quite hard to comprehend how bushes work and even in a 1v3 you never, and I mean never know if you're gonna win. After a few losses like this I was likely invited to a team and who would have thought that games got much easier. We maybe weren't winning every game, but we were winning more than losing and trophies are finally going up. Also, I changed my gadget to the healing one because I knew my mates wouldn't waste it and it helped us hold control for longer. Because of that I reached gold to mastery, but we didn't stop there. In no time I was just 1 game away from 1100 and this is when I got to know the true potential of the gadget. Just because of it I survived the kid jumping on me and in the end we got the win. That was already 1100 trophies and after 1 more win my team had to go, so I was back to randoms. This time we actually won a few games, but then I found another team. We were playing on one of the worst Barley maps possible, but it surprisingly was working because enemies didn't have many counters. Whenever we pushed enemies back to the spawn and I had a super, it was a guaranteed goal, so push was going great. This was also the first time seeing Ollie and I had no idea what he was doing, but it was working, so whatever. In no time we reached 1200 trophies and I was kinda getting good at the Barley. I was able to survive some quite hard situations thanks to the healing star power and I was using the walls very well, unless it was a boss jumping on me from the other side of the map. But overall I had a few good plays on quite a bad Barley map, so I was quite happy with my progress. This was a very smooth push and before I even realized it I hit the mastery cap at 21,656 points. On day 6 I went with a new mode which was 2v2 knockout and I was playing the most boring strategy ever, sitting behind the wall. This team must have hated me doing that for about a minute, but win is a win, so I will take it. But then I got to know the other side of this mode, which is kit plus tank comp, so now I was the one getting abused. I must still blame the boss for this loss though. From here it was just a win-lose cycle, but I also had a funny moment. This cold after killing a Jhin was quite happy, as we can see, but unfortunately when he had to fight a Barley on an open map, he missed everything that's possible, and he somehow lost. That's quite impressive to lose, to be honest. After this game I was saved with a team invite, and we are now playing 2v2 Brawl that has sped up my push quite massively. Maple was scoring goals, and I was mostly defending with the help of my gadget, but my mate also did stop a few insanely smart Buzz Lightyears. Honestly, for such an old brawler, I had a lot of fun in this push, just playing a chill brawler, and after a while I was one game away from gold 3. Blue and Chester seems winnable. Never mind, what am I doing? Okay, let's touch up this Chester a bit. Bro, they can't do anything, I kinda feel bad. Nice, I got the Lou. Holy, what a pass, that was clean. No way he scored. Ah, unlucky. Surely we win now? Nice, let's go. Oh, I got the ball? Okay, we good. Oh, I even got star player. And there is the gold 3, nice. Anyways, let's claim the title now, which means I am now touching your you got served. That's a skip. Anyways, let's move on to the next brawler, which is Willow. Before you say that,
but he's actually a controller.
Just look what he does with his main attack. He throws, so he's a thrower. This push starts at 12,301 mastery points and 885 trophies. I hopped into my first game with her, and in the first seconds I was already in a very sticky situations, but I did this. I knew I will have a lot of fun with her super just from that, and in the next few games I realized that she counters any tank just by using the super. It's quite rare for a thrower to do well against them. But still, without the super I was getting ran through. Also, it doesn't always save you, and in this scenario I kinda lost us this game. But from this point I locked in, and I was abusing this scoring trick in like every game. Once you get someone they can't defend, because for some reason enemies can't damage that brawler. I swear, it's not always been like that, but I wasn't complaining since it was working wonderfully. Hitting that super from max range just felt extremely satisfying, and with no problems I reached rank 50 and shortly after max rank. So I knew this push would go well, or not. With supers like this it definitely wouldn't, and we lost just after reaching max rank. Luckily I only got -2 for some reason, and I am not sure why, so if you know let me know in the comments. This loss still didn't bring me down, and from here I was back on the winning ways. Unfortunately though I had an unemployed teammate, and instead of playing well he was counting how many supers I missed. I guess some of them were hard to miss, but still it's so unserious. However, when I had to play well I did, and after a few wins I reached the mastery cap at 14,971 points. On day 8 I wanted to see if Willow is playable anywhere else that's not Brawl, so I decided to go with Grom first, and the first game was kinda crazy. For the first minute I was bullying them in their spawn, and my mate started a quick countdown. Their kid managed to reset it, but shortly after we started it again. My giant with all the gems thought it was a good idea to 50-50 enemies, but it didn't work, so now I had to get the gems. I thought we were good now, but enemies had every hypercharge available, so they reset it. Then after my giant landed, she lost to a Barley, but my max got most of the gems. I didn't got their Barley, but countdown was reset yet again. After that I got outplayed by their kid, but we still had the gems. Until enemies just got like 5 from the middle and they were winning. I then hit my super on their Barley and I reset the countdown, but it still wasn't enough, and after all of this we lost. I thought this was a sign that jump grab just wouldn't work, but I decided to play another game, but this time it went well. Maybe it was because my Lily was playing very well, but I also got a few kills here and there. At the end of the game I decided to use my super, but yeah, it wasn't great, but at least we won. After that I got an invite, so I took my chance, and this time we are playing Heist. That's definitely a questionable choice for Willow, however I was very comfortable playing it. I didn't have to think at all, apart from shooting the wall, which surprisingly was working. And I am not joking, this was all I was doing, and in this exciting way I reached gold to mastery. Also along the way I discovered some weird glitch where Melody has notes on 2 teams. She could hit her own save, which I found hilarious. Shortly after that my team just disappeared, so I had to play with randoms, but it wasn't that bad. I even went on a 10-game win streak, but after that I had a crazy tilt. Heist with randoms is a massive coin flip, and you either win or lose in 30 seconds. Nothing in between. But I still decided to stick to playing it, and I honestly had a lot of fun by just supering a high DPS brawler and using it to deal easy damage. Overall the push was quite slow, so I stopped playing for the day at 19,427 mastery points. Day 9 started off with some questionable messages from my mates, but at least the gameplay side was a bit more normal, or maybe not. I swear Buzz does not stand for this long. For some reason I couldn't do anything useful this time, and like nothing was working. After about an hour of gameplay I have nothing to show, but then my teammates left. Normally it's not a good thing for me, but then I got invited to another team. This time we played 3-3 hockey, and this made the push so much better. I felt like I haven't played Willow this well so far, and I could go for the same place like in Brawl, or maybe even better. I guess I was also playing with 2 of the best brawlers in this mode, and they were scoring from nowhere and with some trick shots here and there. I even somehow ranked up to Masters 3 times without playing ranked, so I guess it was all meant to be. To be honest, I really enjoyed playing this brawler because it's so annoying. This Mortis must have been fuming after wasting a hypercharge. And anyways, after this game I was 1 game away from getting mastery. Mortis BB cold, should be free. Where is bro shooting? Okay, wait, this looks bad. Never mind, he's clueless. Good try, Melody. Bro, this is perfect for me, please. Oh no way, it worked. Mate, what are you shooting at? Okay, Melody's going crazy. Nah, they're kids, bro, stop it. I think we can win now.
Nope.
What? How? I guess they're trolling, they know it's my last game. Can I do it again? Ah, close. Okay, Melody. Bro, so close. 15 seconds left, I think he's GG's. Wait, I think he scored. Nice, that was so clean. And there we go. Another title. Anyways, let's claim it now, which means I am now touching your EC in your head. This has a lot of potential, to be fair. Anyways, let's move on to the next brawler, which is Tick. This grind starts at 15,385 mastery points and 974 trophies. First game of the day didn't have any spectacular opponents, but that allowed me to get used to playing Tick. He's all about predicting your opponents and it's not always that easy. Also, knowing who you can throw your super on can get you a lot of kills, and as we can see, Piper couldn't get it down in time. We ended up winning this game quite comfortably and I was on my way to max rank. After one more win, I was already one game away, but this is when I had to play against a terrible matchup. Mortis. Like pretty much any other thrower I have played so far, he's the hardest counter and this time was no different. However, Tick has a Uno reverse card, which is his super, so that was a bit promising. Still, this wasn't enough to stop my mates from throwing, and after somehow dying through my Tick head, we lost. This didn't really bring me down, and after a quick win, I was again one away. The game started off well. We got 2 kills pretty much instantly, and we were able to hold the lead quite comfortably. But that was until we started getting pushed into our spawn and Mortis kept on bullying me. We just couldn't do anything at all and we lost again. After regaining my trophies for the 3rd time, I couldn't lose again, but this time I had a terrible start. However, luck was on my side this time and they had a bot Fang. From this point we were farming him as much as possible and we got the win, which finally got me to max rank. I then found myself a team and from this point I was playing Brawl. I never liked having a Tick teammate in this mode because they are 90% of the time completely useless. And in my case it wasn't that different. Maybe I was getting a lot of damage, but the point of this mode is to score goals, which I just couldn't do. Luckily my mates were able to help me with that and we were flying through lobbies. Out of the times we didn't really have any competition. Like seriously, this was the level of my lobbies most of the time. That helped me get an 11 win streak and 1100 trophies in no time. From here I wanted to get a very high win streak, but we lost. Kinda annoying because he had better stats. However, this didn't bring me down and I just kept on... yeah, that's basically all I was doing. But throwing my super was quite fun and seeing it hit opponents brought me a lot of joy to this push. I'ma be real, I like playing Tick, but it's just nothing special. It's all about sitting on max range and throwing the super from time to time. But that was really effective and I got to 1208 trophies and soon enough 1300, so maybe Tick wasn't that bad here. Or it was just my team being goated. However, close to the end of the day I scored my first goal in about 3 hours of gameplay, which got me to the mastery cap at 21,385 points. On day 10 I checked the leaderboards and I was the best Tick in my country and 97th global, so my plan was to get to about top 50. I decided to play with randoms because I could finally play bounty. I was extremely happy to play this mode in particular, and now I felt like I was doing a lot. Enemies were struggling with the constant pressure from my supers and we managed to win this game. After that I got an invite and not surprisingly the push got much easier. Not having to rely on randoms in bounty made me a lot more comfortable and I was also playing much better. Into a good matchup I was honestly having a lot of fun by watching my super connect from across the map. Even better when Hypercharge got some value. Games like these got me to 1404 trophies and I thought nothing could stop me, but then we lost. 19 trophies definitely hurt, but for some reason we didn't get underdog against a 1900 Nani. But then this Mortis joined and we lost again. Minus 38 trophies from 2 games. We couldn't lose again and this is when my Mortis started gliding through people. He carried pretty much every game and without realizing it I was 1 game away from Tick mastery. Stew in bounty, surely a free win. Bro, leave me alone. Nah, I actually hate this brawler so much. Who does this Stew think he is? Okay, nice Mortis. Bro, he pulled the penny turret, I can't. Yeah, now I just have to spam them. Astonishing gameplay, is it? Nice, that's a double, just don't throw now. Wait, look in my head. Nah, no way, I haven't got a kill with Hyper in ages. Mortis going in. Another super. Nice, let's go boys. And that's gold 3. Finally. So let's claim the title now, which means I am now touching your where is my head. Let me know if I should name change for this title. Anyways, let's move on to the next brawler, which is Lawrie and Lawrie. This grind starts at 331 mastery points and 281 trophies. Since he's at power 1, I decided to upgrade him, but I got a very weird bug. Yeah, I can see how he's at maximum level. Anyways, I went with this build and I decided to play Showdown for once. Maybe it isn't Larry's best mode, but players weren't the greatest. They also had interesting gadget choices, but I still had a close call here. Everybody is so aggressive, it's crazy. In the end, and he still charged at me, but it didn't work this time, and right after that I won the game. The mastery points sadly were horrendous, so I tried to push as fast as possible, and this is when I ran into Mortis. He's probably the hardest counter for this whole video, and I already lost, below 300 trophies. From here I decided to lock in and wins were flying in. Even my bot was getting kills and I was flying through these low ranks. I'll be real, it was really fun playing against underleveled players, but that was only if they weren't camping with a maxed out Colette. I still gained trophies though, but from here I wasn't facing that many underleveled players. I don't know since when people are playing power 11s at 400 trophies, and in some games they were trying like their family was on the line. What happened to just trying down in a straight line? Oh, they are still here. Anyways, I also learned that you can't go through water with gadget. That would be kinda cool, I can't lie. Anyways, I quickly reached the bronze 2 and now the games got somehow easier. That's just a prime example of a lower rank play. Oh, and also this creative jump. That's how another few ranks went by, but the rank 30 game felt like it was for 1k trophies. Is it actually this serious? I'm getting outranged at 500 trophies. The guy was aiming supers and he got bailed out by mushrooms. I can't be bothered. But that was already rank 30. I'm still not used to this system. And from here I was struggling against bush campers. It was actually getting a bit annoying to the point where I couldn't trust a single bush. Even my Lawrie started tweaking, so I thought it was a sign to end the day at 1520 mastery points. On day 11 I went back to 3-3, but the start wasn't easy. However, as the game was progressing, I started playing much better and I was starting to see the potential of this brawler and also my randoms. We still managed to score first, but then this happened. Like, what am I even supposed to do? So yeah, we still lost this game, but in the next one my opponent just started spinning. I'm assuming it was my Fury, but I genuinely don't know what to do in this scenario. If I shoot him, I'm just ruining the fun, but if I don't, then he's griefing his teammates. What's kinda funny was that the enemies also started spinning, but they were just baiting and then they scored. That really annoyed me, so I got that Daryl and I just finished the game. I was then rewarded with a mythic drop, but I got only 100 bling. I swear you get more in epic drops. Fortunately from there I went on a small winning streak and I got an invite from a nearly 100k player, so I decided to help him get there, which was going well. We were winning game after game, and even my star drops got better as I got this clean stew skin. Soon enough, I was one game away from rank 35. How is that even a thing? Also, my opponents truly were rank 35 level players and we won. But now we are also one away from the 100k, but if I had to sum up this game, it would be this. I have no idea what the plan was and we ended up losing this game. Luckily, we went on to win a few more games and we got him to 100k, but I wanted to play a bit more on lower ranks, so I left and continued my journey with randoms, which instantly got questionable. It surprisingly wasn't my team trolling now, because if that happened to me, I would be fuming. From here, I was able to gain a bit of momentum and I was carrying a lot of games. I was already seeing why this brawler is so annoying to play against and why he's such a strong brawler. He still has a few counters, but he can do a lot of fun plays like this super dash to ball for some easy goals. In no time I got to rank 40 and also silver to mastery, but I didn't stop there. I was gaining mastery points extremely fast because of the mastery madness, and my randoms were surprisingly getting better. I can't believe I'm saying this, but they actually weren't absolutely useless. This Dyna in particular really surprised me, and because of him I got to silver 3. Overall, matches were still quite easy, but also funny, because why is she chasing the Dynamike to the spawn? Anyways, not much more happened during this day and I hit the mastery cap at 7520 points. On day 12 I wanted to get to max rank as fast as possible, but I had a rough start. Against tanks there is nothing I can possibly do, so we lost. But Brawl Stars servers decided to help me and only this Dynamike loaded in, but shortly after the Rico stopped him. After that everyone turned into bots, but then I finally loaded in and we got a goal and then Rico was left in a 1v3. Fair game as you can tell. Because of that I also reached rank 50 and I was one away from max rank, which was one of the better games of this push so far. I was winning against Mortis with the help of the gadget and my Chester just scored 2 goals, so that was already max rank. And that was just the beginning of this push. In this game I got hard carried by a Rico random who got these stats. Kinda crazy, but I also had a few nice plays. Mortis was starting to be much less of a problem for me. Maybe he was a bit of an interesting player, but the thumbs down sums it up the best. As I was playing I finally got some value from my vision gear. Honestly no idea why I bought it in the first place, but it still worked out and we got the win, which got me to gold 1 mastery. From there I kept on pushing with randoms, but then my wife invited me, so I couldn't say no. After this play I decided to go for a divorce because this just isn't explainable, and I found another team. With a 110k player we were getting a lot more consistent wins, and in no time I got to 1107 trophies. But by no means were the games easy. I was getting abused a lot of the times, but as long as we were winning I didn't mind it. I was also going for a lot more interesting plays and I was also getting some free wins. To be honest, no idea why these guys just gave us the win. Also, I didn't get mastery because I didn't deal enough damage. Nice. At the end of the day I also got to know how toxic this brawler is. These guys couldn't get me out of this position no matter what they tried, and I ended up getting the win, and that's when I hit the mastery cap at 13,520 points. On day 13 I had enough of Brawl, so I decided to play a different mode, but gem grab just wasn't it. There were way too many bushes for Lawrie to work and assassins had a field day on me. No matter what I was doing there was some Mortis waiting for me, and after 2 quick losses I knew it wouldn't work, so I swapped to hot zone and it was the right choice. In one game I got into a team with some fans and after we won they added me, so I decided to play with them and it made this push push so much fun. Being able to play with my viewers is really cool, and just being recognized for me is so amazing. By the way, what you are seeing on your screen is the highest level of matchmaking in this game. How do these people even get to 1k? Anyways, this game got me to 1300 trophies and also gold too. Soon enough we lost our first game, which was against a Hank, so it wasn't a good sign. But from there this push turned into hunting down ticks. He's not even good in this mode, but he's just so annoying, so that's what he deserved. Anyways, I had a few decent plays, but overall this wasn't my best day on Lawrie. I wasn't playing that well, nothing seemed to go my way, and I have nothing cool to show, but at least I hit the mastery cap at 19,520 points. On day 14 I wanted to give Jumpgrab a second chance, and it was definitely worth it. In my first game I got carried by a random Mortis, which you can't say often, but the next game was peak. My Jackie had gems for some reason, so just like a Jackie random she had to throw. I thought the game was over, but their genie used a spray. If my random did that, my head would be gone. Had to give him thumbs up. However, I was then losing a lot more games because Jumpgrab with randoms ain't easy. Trophies were going down very fast, but from this point this push had everything from terrible randoms to some nice plays thanks to the gadget, and I was actually having fun playing this brawler. Into a decent matchup, enemies can't do anything, and this ends was losing it. Surprisingly, as the day went on, my randoms were actually getting better, and I kinda felt like I was being carried. And I genuinely don't know how I was magically one game away from Lawrie mastery. What even is their comp? Okay, my BB is already dead. Nah, I swear BB balls have some homing effect. Let's try to get a different angle. Okay, BB is going for me. Bro, why is there two on me all the time? Oh, that's a nice buzz super. No way he gets the BB. Nah, this guy might be the greatest of all time. Let's try to outplay the BB. Please. Okay, that somehow still worked. I'm so lucky. Bro, how is that countdown already? My BB's probably dead. Of course. Surely we can kill her. Okay, just don't throw now. Nah, why is he there? Buzz? Bro, we can't lose now. At least that's a reset. Buzz got the chance, it's not gonna end well. Mate, are you serious? Nah, we're gonna throw. Nice, BB got us. Wow, what a game, holy. And finally, that's gold free Lawrie. Let's claim the title now, which means I am now touching your nah, this is so bad. Anyways, let's move on to the next brawler, which is Sprout. This push starts at 18,785 mastery points and 974 trophies. I hopped into my first game and I had to relearn how to play this brawler. I know I'm at gold 2, but I pushed it like 10 months ago, and I think you can tell from the aim. Also, I wasn't really sure what I was meant to do with the walls, so I was just breaking the bush. Even if I wanted to try something, I would misplay the wall, but luckily we still got the win. Now, I was getting close to max rank, and in this game I got carried by this Piper. I don't know what they're feeding these kids, but the guy had aimbot. So now I was one away from max rank, and this was a very easy game. The level of opponents was, yeah, just about that, but I was now actually seeing slight improvement with my shooting. Also, I was trying some other wall placements, and they seemed to work very well, so we won, and that was already max rank. But this is when I was starting to struggle a lot thanks to teammates like this. Surely not picking isn't that hard. The next random was this Angelo. I actually don't know how do you deal less than 7k damage in 2 minutes of a game. I think it must have been on purpose because this doesn't seem doable. Also, my randoms were breaking physicals because how do you drop bombs and die? But after a while I was making some good plays like cornering myself from the dickhead and winning the game. Just as I was starting to play out of my mind and winning every game, the map changed, so I decided to play knockout, and I was not ready for what was about to happen. In my first game I was against a kid. The brawler is annoying at all, but there is a bigger issue. The guy was a cheater. Yes, you heard that right. This isn't just some silly bug you can do by disconnecting from the game. This is a player controlled kid. Of course, the guy was named Juan Carlos because he's a kid, but there is a reason, it's a fresh account. I have never played against anything like this, I just kept on playing, but 2 games later I had to play against that again. So you can see it was a very big issue. Fortunately, these guys were horrendous and I don't know how they even did it, but they lost with a hack. If I was this bad, I would never queue up for a game ever again. Lucky I now had a small break from them, and Lily supering a clone lifted my mood up a little. However, bad randoms didn't end there, and these guys were on a throwing speedrun. They couldn't stay alive for more than 10 seconds, which is quite impressive. But I was then back to playing against hackers, so I much prefer worse teammates to whatever I'm seeing right now. I was generally still confused what was going on, so I decided to add him and just ask how he's doing this, but he basically said nothing useful. So I just kept on playing, but I couldn't stop facing off against them. It's generally quite concerning how many I have seen, but I also realized something crazy. These kids are boosting legitimate players to higher trophies. I have noticed that the guys before are also playing in a team, so boosting services can now be used with cheaters. But of course there are people who are cheating just to cheat, and I was even getting them on my team. This guy was still complete trash, but we won anyway. It got to the point where I was surprised when a kid wasn't hacking, which is just so funny. I still hate this brawler. Anyways, I have a lot more clips with them, but let's talk about something a bit more positive, which is this 1v1. How did I even lose that? But I was able to redeem myself in a different game against this Mortis. After getting a clean double kill, you would think he wasn't terrible, but losing to a Sprout is just crazy. Also, Creator Icon was winning me some games, which I found extremely funny. Overall though, my skills were improving drastically and I was using my walls very efficiently. Kinda felt bad for this Kenji, I can't lie. Also, I was making some juicy predictions and I felt quite comfortable playing this brawler. I even completed the 1k trophy box with just throwers. Let's pretend Colt and Jackie don't exist. At this point, I was getting close to the mastery and I was now one game away from gold 3. Or that's what I thought. As if the day couldn't get worse, I gained just 55 points compared to 100 before, so if you don't know what this means, I hit the mastery cap at 24,785 points. This is so unserious. To make this game more interesting, let's play Brawl. Now, what is this matchup? Okay, nice grief, maybe we can score. Okay, maybe. Nah. Mortis Loki going crazy? Never mind. Bro, go away. Edgar players are truly special. Did he score? No. Go for the ball, Mortis? Nice. I'll break the bush, I guess. Edgar will probably jump on me now. No, I killed my Griff. Nah, I can't do anything. This ain't looking good. Okay, Griff got us. Mortis, please leave me alone. Okay, thank you. Nice, I got the Rico. No, this Edgar can't be real. Surely we can't lose now? What? How did he even score that? That was a good game, to be honest. But there it is, gold 3 Sprout. Let's claim the title now, which means I am now touching your tree hugger, whatever this means. Anyways, let's master the last thrower, which is Grom. This grind starts at 1507 mastery points and 750 trophies. First things first, I upgraded my Grom to power 11 and I went with this build. I had to learn how to play this brawler, so I decided to play Heist since I can practice his basics here. I had no idea how his range works, and the first gadget, yeah, that wasn't even close, but I then tried again, and this time I hit all 3, dealing 10%. But that wasn't the perfect placement, and by aiming at the bottom of bush, I dealt 12%, which is max for him. Also in this game I had to hit enemies, and it honestly didn't go that well. I was sometimes doing a bit, but it's quite hard to hit his shots consistently. Anyways, we still won, and with some clean stats I was motivated to keep going. It was going quite well because I didn't have to do a lot. I would just run behind this wall and spam the save with my gadgets. This was working extremely well and I soon hit rank 40, but not every game was that easy. Sometimes my teammates felt like doing a no super challenge and this Nita didn't use it for the whole 2 minutes. I actually don't know what was going through his head. Luckily, bad randoms are always on 2 teams and because of them I hit silver 1 and shortly after that rank 45. Since then my skill was slowly improving. Maybe the opponents looked like paid actors, but it's still not an easy position to get away from. Also I found it kinda funny how Khaled was struggling to kill me when I didn't even care about her. Things like this help you reach silver 2, but this when I was trying to get better at aiming with Grom, so I was fighting more people. I don't know why, but I was actually struggling to hit them, however I was luckily good at shooting the vaults, so wins were flying in. As I was getting closer to max rank, I got an invite to this team, and now we are playing Wipeout where I could focus on my aim. This turned out to be very helpful and I saw a lot of improvement in my gameplay, unless my mates were letting enemies chain fang supers. Anyways, the games were rather easy and in no time I reached max rank. We haven't played for that long and we only lost 1 game. Take a guess who that was against. Yes, Kid Hackers. The worst part was that the guy wasn't even good, but his melody randomly turned into Prime Tensai. Like, look at these stats. How can you cheat and still be this bad? Anyways, shortly after that I went back to Heist and I was back to doing what I was doing best. Gadgeting the safe. This is how basically every game was going and I hit silver 3 quite fast. However, I was able to get a win streak going and I got to 9, which also got me to 1100 trophies with randoms. But from there the game didn't like to see me do well, so I got into a match with top 3 global and I got some questionable mates, so there was no winning that game. I then went on a bit of a losing streak, but at some point I fortunately hit the mastery cap at 7407 points. On day 17 I decided to play some 5v5 because I have not played it for months, but I was quickly reminded why I didn't like playing it. I had no idea what was going on 90% of the time, and after losing my first game I instantly went back to some 3v3 on a very questionable map. Just before playing it, I bought the second gadget and now I was ready to go. Or so I thought. I thought that nothing worse would happen after 5v5, but then after 5 games, I was against a kid hacker. On Snake Prairie, like, are you serious? Fortunately, they were horrible at the game and they lost, but luckily this was the only time I had to go against it that day. Now the push was much more normal, but I was kinda struggling. I remember having a headache that day and playing this map in particular didn't help, but I was making it work with randoms. After a few hours of this torture, I got to gold 1, but for some reason, randoms from here were getting just worse each game. What is the thought process here? Anyways, I couldn't force myself to play for much longer and I ended the day on 12,353 mastery points. On day 18, I for some reason decided to play this monstrosity of a map. It was really hard to hit shots consistently, but I took it as a chance to practice faster targets. With no surprises, this game also had a kid hacker, but I was honestly bored of them at this point. This one also had a buff because he could move faster, but it still wasn't enough to win a 1k trophy ladder match. How bad can you actually be? Anyways, I kept on playing this map, but I wasn't winning a lot. Probably because Grom sucks here, so I decided to go back to Bounty, and this time it was going extremely well. I was winning pretty much every game, and I went on a 10-game win streak with randoms. I may or may not have lost the next game, but along the way I had quite a few really clean team wipes. I was actually feeling like I was playing well, and at one point I found myself a team. This has sped up my push quite massively. We don't talk about the super, and in no time I got to 1,205 trophies. We even had some insanely close games like this one. Yes, the spin was necessary, but anyways, as you can see, nothing could stop us, and the games were quite fun. Unfortunately, after getting to 1,246, they left me on my own, so I had to play with randoms, but not for that long. I then got another invite, but this time it felt like I was playing with randoms. Like, look at this game for example. I was hitting like every single shot, and I was winning the lane no matter who I was against. My team, however, didn't really feel like doing much, and we lost while I had these stats. What more can I possibly do to win? I felt like I was better off playing with randoms, so I left, but maps changed, so I decided to go back to knockout. This time, however, it was much easier, and I was doing a lot of decent plays, and because of that, wins were flying in. Unless a Milky Hank was moving like his max. But still, in no time I hit gold 2, and from this point it was just a chill push. I honestly kinda liked playing this map however it sounds, because it's definitely different compared to anything else. Maybe I'm a bit delusional, but the games were quick, and without realizing it, I hit the mastery cap at 18,353 points. Day 19, and oh my, it was painful. I had a really rough start and nothing seemed to go my way. Maybe it was me, but the randoms also did have their moments along the way. This really triggered me at the time, because I somehow won a 1v1 against a Lily, but it still didn't matter when I had a Hank playing like this. There was genuinely no point even trying in this game. Also, being left by a Mortis in a 1v2 just for him to save his hypercharge for the next game was annoying. Luckily, 90% of Mortis randoms lack thinking, and this game wasn't 2 steps ahead. At some point I was fortunately invited to a team, but to be honest I was better off playing with randoms. The guy was blaming anything that's possible, but to be honest the mode might not be the problem in this case, my bro. I was then back to randoms, which still wasn't working. In about 4 hours of gameplay I gained 3k mastery points, which is terrible, and I didn't have much time left, so I was hoping to find a team. Unfortunately everyone, and I mean everyone, was playing ranked, but I finally found these guys. This was the guy that I randomly found in my Lawrie push, and this has changed my push in no time. Even though we are playing hot zone, Grom turned out to be really good here and I was able to dominate a lot of games. But what I also noticed was that for some reason my opponents were, let's just say, questionable. It's really weird to me that when playing in a team I'm playing against worst players, but when I'm playing with randoms everyone is playing like it's a world finals match. But I wasn't really complaining and I was able to make a lot of progress with them. Even my skill was improving, so I was feeling good. Unfortunately, as I hit 1,195 trophies, they had to go, so randoms was the way, but this time I was playing hot zone. Did the randoms get any better? Absolutely not, but they definitely got more questionable. This Griff was playing like a complete bot for 2 minutes. Seriously, how did these people get to the highest rank in the game? I was very thankful this game was done, however after queuing up for another game, guess who I got again? Yes, Iron Fist. But what really surprised me was that now he was actually not playing bad. Maybe he wasn't good, but he wasn't walking around like an absolute drone. I still had to do most of the work, but it just really confused me what changed from one game to another. Maybe his brother took his phone, I genuinely have no idea. But overall the push was going well, maybe apart from the stick, but I was actually playing Grom extremely well. I had a lot of team wipes along the way, which were so satisfying. I was actually having a lot of fun playing this brawler, and the plays I could make with him were so clean. Maybe I was like 100 trophies compared to the start of the day, but it didn't really matter to me anymore, and after a long grind I stopped playing for the day at 24,357 mastery points. On day 20 I decided to play some Brawl, which was kinda hard at first. It wasn't even about the enemies being good, I just couldn't get away from Mortis Dino randoms in every single game. While it was a bit annoying, winning a game like this proves that I deserved to get to gold 3. I was able to defend out of hard situations, and my Grom knowledge has improved quite drastically. Hitting my opponents was no longer a struggle, and without realizing it I was 1 game away from gold 3. Let's maybe play Wipeout. This would be a very annoying game. Of course I'm on Mandy. Bro, can you like stop maybe? What is the Mandy doing? I will take a free kill, I guess. Ah, close. Okay, they swapped lanes, Piper should be easier. Tick players are so trash, bro. I kinda deserved it, I guess. Let's surprise the Mandy, maybe? Ah, just one hit. Please don't super me. Okay, we good. Oh my, how did I win that? You didn't see that, by the way. Oh, that was such a good gadget. Holy, I might be the greatest Grom global. Maybe I hit that? Nah, that's just bullying. Can I get Tick again? Bro, I feel bad now. Let's see if I can get the last kill. Maybe? Nice, finally it's done. Holy, when did I get 9 kills, bro? I'm crazy. And that's the gold 3. Nice. So now let's claim the title, which means I'm now touching gear with one left hand. What am I touching though? So, these were all of the throwers in this video, but you might have noticed that Juju and Barley are missing. That's because I made vids on them already, which are on your screen right now. Thanks for watching and see ya in the next one.